Welcome to another infographic instant. In this episode, we'll be asking which Chinese solar companies list where. This infographic is from a paper where we try and assess how Hong Kong can improve as an international financial center. And specifically, we want to know, why do China's solar companies basically leave the country and list in New York when they have a perfectly good domestic alternative here in Hong Kong? Turning our attention to the infographic, now we can't say that Hong Kong is good or bad as an international financial center unless we know, how many companies are choosing to list here rather than in the US. And looking at the infographic, we see, in fact, the two largest companies by market cap size are listed in Hong Kong, and that's Hanergy and Xinyi. Hanergy has a market cap of about 2 billion, Xinyi at about 1.5 billion. So that suggests that Hong Kong can certainly stand toe-to-toe with New York in terms of attracting companies in innovative technological areas like solar panel production. We see some of the larger companies, though, are nonetheless listed in New York, such as Canadian, Trina, Jinko, JA Solar, and so forth. You can see in the infographic in front of you. So that's the first trend, is that there's no necessary correlation in market capitalization and future current decision where to list, either in New York or Hong Kong. The second trend in the data is that there's no necessary correlation between price-earnings ratios of these companies and the decision where to list. Now, one argument might be to say Chinese solar companies prefer to list in New York because they can see higher share price premia paid for such listings. In other words, the investors in those shares will earn more money, particularly as a percentage of earnings, if they list in one jurisdiction as opposed to another. Yet we see no discernible pattern in price-to-earnings ratios for Chinese companies listed either in New York or in Hong Kong. So looking at Hanergy, we see a PE ratio of about 12, whereas if we see Xinyi, its PE ratio is 29, almost 30. So within these two largest market cap solar panel companies, we see a very large difference in price-to-earnings ratios, probably reflecting current valuations rather than necessarily market quality. Canadian has a PE ratio of about 31, Trina 34, Jinko at 31, yet if we look at JA Solar, we see a much lower PE ratio. So while it does look as though some of the US listed shares have higher PE ratios, nonetheless we cannot see actually a statistically significant difference in these PE ratios only by looking at the decision where to invest. So the moral of this story is that Hong Kong probably does okay as an international financial center, but it's still a mystery as to why more Chinese solar companies don't list at home being in quotes, because of course Hong Kong is one country, two systems. So why these countries don't list, quote, at home, end quote, as opposed to overseas. This has been another infographic instant with Bryane Michael.